Welcome to the You Can Do Both podcast. I'm Court.
This is Ashley, and we're coming at you live from Boston.
Hey.
On a little snow day today.
I know. It's very cozy in here, except I'm actually cold.
Yeah, this is
true.
true.
It's cozy, but my feet are freezing right now.
Are they?
I'm sitting on them for a reason.
I would have given you slippers.
No, it's okay.
Okay. Well, today was kind of it literally felt like a high school snow day because it's the 3-day weekend I didn't know that I needed.
Seriously.
I know we just got back from the holidays, so I feel like I should be fine after coming off of a break like that, but it took a lot out of me that first week back, so I feel like I needed this little reset. And we woke up to snow actually accumulating.
I know. This is the first of the season.
Yeah, literally.
Which is crazy.
I know. So it feels good. I'm happy. I'm relaxed.
Me too.
Love a 4-day week.
Oh my God. I forgot about that part. Mm-hmm. Not only is it a 3-day weekend, but it's a 4-day week. That's huge.
There's nothing better.
And I'm super excited about this topic because it's very relevant to our goals for 2023 and even a little fun day that we had yesterday.
Yeah, I'm excited to chat about it. But before we get into it, let's kick it off with, as always, Boston Rec of the Week. Hit me with it, Court.
All right, I'm pronouncing this probably wrong, but Faccia bread. I
think it's Faccia.
Faccia on Newbury Street. So it came out probably less than a year ago. It opened less than a year ago, and it previously had a different name when it opened, which makes it confusing. It was previously Faccia Bruta. Yeah, Bruta. It is an Italian restaurant. But what I like about it so much is that they have a downstairs bar. So it's a restaurant up top, and then it's more loungy, small bar downstairs with fun music, and it's a natural wine bar. So you're not really supposed to get a hangover after the fact. There's no preservatives within the wine, and it's just a good vibe.
It is a really good vibe, and that's a great rec not only for the natural wine bar downstairs, but their food upstairs is so good.
Yeah, it's a little pricey for the size of the plates.
It's so
but
good.
It's worth it if you're trying to splurge and have a cute girls' night out or a date night or something.
Yeah, love that rec. If you haven't been, you need to go. And then my rec of the week, it's called Kartal. It's a new bar, speakeasy vibes that opened in the South End. It's on Tremont Street, kind of by Barcelona Wine Bar, Beehive, Banyan Bar, all those bar area. But it's really cool. It reminds me of Mariel Underground, but on a very mini level. It's very tiny and intimate in there. Drinks are good. Also, fun fact is I want to say there were 9 cocktails or something on the menu. But they also have the equivalent mocktails. So, there's just as much of a mocktail menu, which I kind of love that they're just promoting that.
Yeah.
Because it is a sexy, red light, speakeasy, dark vibe. You'd think everybody there is drinking martinis. But the fact that it's just as much promoted, with mocktails and stuff. I don't know. I just thought it was cool.
It's for the dry January people. It's for the damp people. It's for the no alcohol, because now that's a trend and it's becoming so much more normalized to not have to drink to have fun. Yeah, I love that.
I do too.
We're probably going to be seeing more of that as time goes on too.
I think so too.
I hope so.
Yeah, I like it. Maybe one of these days I'll finally order a mocktail instead. But for now,
you know what, to me, not to, no respect to anyone who orders mocktails, but at that point I'm why even bother with the calories and the probably sugars and all that? I feel maybe it's nice just for the vibe and to feel you're doing it if everyone else is, but I don't know. Some places literally charge $20 for a mocktail or $15. It's that I just can't get on board with.
Yeah, it's a little crazy. Yeah. But if you're committed, I get it.
It's a nice option to have.
It is.
Anyhow.
2 great recs for you.
Yes.
You're welcome. And with that, I think we can go ahead and jump right into our episode.
So today's episode is about making friends in your 20s. I feel this is just something that we've dealt with. Also, kind of it's not a problem, but it's something that we want more of. We want friends, and it's something that we're working on in this new year. And it's just, I think, a struggle for a lot of people. Post-college, you don't necessarily have a plan. You could be moving to a new city without any of your friends. You're watching kind of childhood friends do their own thing, like people in your life that you've been reliant on up until this point, like you're officially on your own path. And I feel like it's important to talk about ways that you can make new friends and you can rekindle old relationships and just how you navigate relationships and friendships as you get older.
Yeah, definitely. And I think making new friends as an adult is such a new concept to all of us because so you grow up with these childhood friends, and if you think about it, really the only reason why these are your childhood best friends is just based on your environment.
Yeah.
Whether your parents hung out with their parents, whether you went to the same daycare, high school, whatever it is, like you're just surrounded by this group of people, and from there you just get to pick and choose kind of by default, and you just kind of end up with the same thing with college.
Yeah.
You go in, and then when we were chatting about this, you made a really good point that like in college, you develop your relationships so much faster.
Yeah.
And
because you're living with these people.
Yeah, you're literally sleeping
once
next
again,
to somebody.
it's based on the environment.
Yes. And then you graduate and you think, oh, I have my childhood best friends.
Yeah.
But then in college, you kind of realize that there's more friendships than just your childhood. And then you get to college and it's like, I have my college best friends for life. These are my bridesmaids. And then you get into the real world and you're like, oh, wait, where are all these people that I thought were going to be in my life forever?
Yeah.
And some of them are, but I feel like I can pretty much guarantee everyone's friend group from high school or college, like you are not just as close as you thought you would be with every single person in that group.
Totally. And then on the other hand, there's people that you thought that you would never speak to again, or like you just wouldn't run in the same circles, that all of a sudden are like reappearing in your life based on situations, based on interest or industry. And it's just like, you never know what to expect. And almost everyone starts off with like a blank slate post-college, and there's no path for career. There's no path for location and where you should end up living. And to a similar token, there's no path for friendships. And it's just naturally a lot more work to maintain the current friendships that you have. And in like a bittersweet note, it's like you have the ability to stay friendly with the people that you want to stay friendly with, and vice versa. So you naturally weed out different people in your life, and you'd be surprised to see the ones that actually stay.
Yeah. So it's really challenging to navigate. I think it can be an emotional roller coaster.
Totally.
But at the same time, it can also be so exciting because for the first time ever, you have a huge say in who you choose to
spend time with,
be a part of your life.
Yeah.
So we kind of broke it down into a couple different sections. The first two we're going to cover are existing friendships. So you can either outgrow them or you can nurture them. And there's kind of two paths to take. And both are like a lot of work and a little bit stressful.
Yeah.
So first we're going to chat about outgrowing friends.
And this is such a weird experience that can go many different ways. And sometimes it could feel like a literal breakup.
Yep.
Sometimes it could feel very mutual and like it just makes sense as to why you're not spending as much time with certain people anymore. But regardless, it's like uncomfortable, and it almost feels like it's like this shouldn't be happening, but at the end of the day, it's for the better.
Yeah, I think, it can either go two ways. I think
one-sided or not.
Yeah, one-sided or not, but I think when it's very mutual and like it feels easy, it's like, it's actually not that sad. It's just
peaceful.
kind of beautiful in a way. It's like we served each other's purpose, and we could be best friends at one time, and we had the best memories. And then life happened equally to both of us, and we grew apart naturally. And there's no resentment. There's no back and forth.
Yeah.
And who knows? Your paths could totally cross again when you're, again, back at the same level and you feel like you need that person again. I think it's the friendship breakup part where it wasn't as mutual, or there's like some awkward tension.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. They're just definitely challenging, can be awkward.
Totally.
But can be kind of reflective in a way.
Yeah. And it's like energizing once you get through it. And I feel like almost it's important to talk about like a time when you need to outgrow a friend. And I feel like it kind of comes at you almost like it's like an accumulated thing when you realize that maybe it's time to like let someone go in your life or just to create some distance. And one of those signs, or at least like for me in past relationships, is like you don't necessarily feel the time and energy that you're putting into someone is being reciprocated. I feel like it's once you reach this adulthood, you get very particular over your time and energy. And if you don't feel like someone is adding value to your life the way that maybe you've added value to theirs, or just like in general, you don't feel like you're being stimulated by conversations you have, you don't necessarily have the same interest or passions anymore, you spend your time doing different things, then that's just an indicator that maybe this person is not necessarily serving this purpose in your life anymore. And that's totally fine. And it's also important to recognize that certain people are in your life for different reasons. So not even different phases of your life, but maybe, all right, this person was my go-to best friend for absolutely everything for the past 4 years. But now I feel like this is my person to go out with when I want to have a really good time.
Yeah.
Or this is my person that when I want to sit in my house and do nothing, this is who I want to do that with.
Yeah.
And that's a beautiful thing as long as you're self-aware of it and like you don't feel resentment about this change in relationship.
Yes, I think that's a really good point because, I don't know. So in college, I was more of like a party scene, loved going out. So like I had my people for that. That was probably the foundation of a lot of our relationship. We had so much fun together, best memories. COVID hit for me, and like personally, I grew out of that phase a little bit. I can still be crazy. I can still be wild. I have a good time, but not as much as like I
Snaps
used to.
for that. She could do both, ladies and gentlemen.
She can do both. So I feel like in a way, there were some people that slowly started to like fade out of my life a little bit, just because that was our main purpose of our friendship for a little bit. Honestly, nobody like really comes to mind actually when I say that, but just for the sake of an example. There's no saying that like maybe when I get to finally catch up and reconnect that this person may have a different purpose for being in my life and may serve like a different friendship, like scratch another itch.
Totally.
So I feel like that's cool and beautiful, and that is a great appreciation I have for all different types of friend groups or friendships.
Yeah.
You got to have somebody for everything.
Totally.
And I don't think it's good to have one person for everything.
No.
I feel like then you can like build up some resentment and like reliant, like you need this person.
Exactly. You become like codependent on the other. And then there's resentment when one person in that relationship decides that they want to branch out and make other friends.
Right. That's actually so true. That's why I think it's good to like have people in different places. Like, I don't know. I've seen people like with their core friend group and like that's great. I feel like I have a couple like core friend groups in a way.
Friends. Yes.
Got my lake people, I got my hometown people, I got my college people, I got my work people. Like, it's nice to have everybody everywhere. And again, like I have different friends for different things. But I think like a huge goal of mine this year is to kind of establish who is my like adult core friend group.
Yeah.
Like I love the idea of merging everyone together in a way, meeting their other friend groups as well and like seeing who vibes. Do you ever think about like who's going to be my wedding?
I think about that all the time.
I don't know.
All the time. And also, like, I feel like a wedding really shows who your truest friends are because you literally have to pay for the people to be there.
Yes.
Or you have this, like, wedding, this large wedding, and say you invite everyone. Like, your truest friends are going to be the ones to actually, like, say yes and show up and make the time and energy to travel out. Yeah. And I think about that all the time. Like, who, at the end of the day, who is? And I feel like you just make different, as you grow up and you create different friends in different stages of your life, you eventually cannot invite absolutely everyone. Like all of your hometown best friends, all of your college best friends, all of your adulthood best friends. So it's like you have to hand select people from each part of your life.
Right.
And then it's like, do I have to invite this person because this person's invited? But like at the end of the day, your wedding should not be like that. Like you need to pick the people that matter the most. And
if I'm being completely like vulnerable and transparent right now, I feel like my relationship with all these different friend groups from different people in different areas of my life, I feel like I kind of have the same level of relationships like with all of them. Like I don't think I could pick like one over the other. And like who I have like a stronger relationship with, I would say like aside from Joe, who's literally like my human, like we spend all of our time together, and then like you, of course. But like other than that, like I don't know, like I want my relationship that I have with you duplicated in like different variations.
Yeah.
Like I want to feel like that strong tie.
I feel that.
And I feel like after I graduated and like I kind of grew into myself, like it's been hard. It's been really hard to like find those people.
Yeah. And I also think in terms of like the wedding thing, it's honestly a little different too, because I feel like you end up inviting people there that have also been a strong piece of your relationship and
So
like
true.
who know you and your partner.
Yeah.
So like that's also something that I think of. It's like obviously Matt and I haven't been together for a super long time, but it's like I want everyone to be in the audience, hypothetically speaking, if we were to get married, like everyone there to like understand why we're getting married and have like an equal relationship to both of us. So I think of like, oh my God, like my childhood best friend has yet to meet Matt or like my partner. And like, that's just such a weird concept too.
Yeah.
But outside of the wedding talk.
Outside of marriage.
Yeah, what's going on here? All right. So we kind of touched upon outgrowing friends and how that can be like a one-sided thing or it could be mutual. But regardless, I think it's important to recognize that it's for a reason and you're developing into the next chapter of your life maybe, or the next chapter of you. And although it may be sad, it's something that like you can always honor the history that you had and the friendship that you had. And it doesn't need to be a permanently shut door.
What you're saying is like, there's no need to burn a bridge.
Exactly.
Like a friendship
exactly
can end and that's okay. And we all just need to recognize that that is part of life and part of growing up. And maybe I'm super bummed our relationship ends tomorrow. Maybe you feel like you've outgrown me. I am so valid to be feeling the feelings I'm feeling. I'm feeling upset. I feel maybe a little betrayed. But at the end of the day, you're going to realize everything happens for a reason. And if this person didn't feel like they were aligning with me, like I probably wasn't getting what I needed out of them anyways.
Yeah.
I can either do some self-reflection if it was like a little more negative. But at the same time, like that person was your friend for a reason. You had a beautiful relationship. I'm sure you have great memories.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know. You want that person to go off and like be the best version of themselves.
Yeah. At the end of the day, the people that want to be in your life will be in your life.
Yes.
And you shouldn't cling on to people who maybe are going in a different direction than you.
Yeah.
And that's totally fine.
And it's totally okay. And nobody knows what the future holds.
Exactly.
You could run into them at a coffee shop 5 years later and be at like a totally different point in your lives and be like, oh my God, I miss you so much. Let's get dinner tomorrow.
Yeah.
And then boom, your relationship could be back to how it was 5 years prior.
Totally.
Like you just never know.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on to
ways to nurture.
Yes, ways to nurture your current friend group or friends. I think this is something Courtney and I like kind of struggle with, and we have to like hold each other accountable.
Literally.
I'm really bad at reaching out and staying in touch unless like these people are constantly in my life. It's really hard for me to just like balance everything. But here are some tips for nurturing, and maybe you have this goal like once a week and it's like your goal of the week to reach out to one of your old friends. Like last year, like I would literally I made a list of all the people I love. And I was like, these are all the people I love. I need to do it with my family. I need to do it with like, everybody. And each week I would try to call like 2 to 3 people just to like check in. And it was like a nice little goal. And I think that's a great way to nurture. So like my first one is texting, calling, FaceTiming, sending a quick photo of like, hey, this reminded me of you.
That's the best text to receive.
And like, that's it. Just like, hey, I'm thinking of you. You're on my brain. Love you. Like, that's it.
That's it. That's all you have to do.
That's so simple and easy.
That's a simple one. I also think one way to make sure that you see people is like when you're with this person that you care about, you have a plan with them. When you're literally leaving to say goodbye, you put a date on the calendar of the next time you're going to see the person.
Yes.
So that it's very simple. It's like if things change, that's fine. But you have a goal or a next time that you guys are going to see each other.
Yeah. Or even like, an activity you really want to do together.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to set the date and the time, because I feel like, I know I get a little stressed out with that sometimes.
It doesn't need to be as structured as a time and a date and a place. It can just be like, all right, you want to pick up tennis? I want to pick up tennis. Let's make sure that we do this together in the summer.
Yes. I was actually just seeing, so I caught up with Alex, a friend from school, and we got drinks. I really only see her like once every couple months. We've been good recently. Like, I saw her last month, and like we had our date. We planned our exact date when we were together, went out to the bar, and then this little girls' night out, we didn't pick the date and the time, but we were like, okay, we're doing a wig date, and we're gonna go to a wig shop so that we can like get like really nice wigs, and then like from there, then we'll pick the night out. And it's just like kind of something to look forward to when we see like TikToks of like a wig shop. Like, you know, we're gonna send it to each other.
Yeah.
So it's almost something like that. I think that's a really good way to nurture friendships.
Yeah, totally.
Okay, next one I have is social media. You know, like the intended use, I feel like. For
Facebook was created to connect people, and all of a sudden it's evolved, not Facebook, but social media, into this beast of like content that nobody needed.
Yes. I feel like a great way to nurture a friendship is to keep up with their life. And social media is a great way to do that without actually directly contacting the person. Maybe they're busy, maybe they're traveling, but like, if you see on social media that they were just on a trip, like when you happen to run into them, be like, oh my goodness, I saw you were just in Paris. Yeah. How was that? It looked amazing. I can't wait to hear about it.
Yeah.
You know, something like that. And then, I don't know, it shows that you're keeping up with their life and like you care.
Totally. And you don't even have to wait till you see them next. You can also, I feel like Instagram specifically has made it so easy. Now they have the heart on the stories. So
I love that.
So you can just let them know that you are here and you're cheering for them, and like you loved this photo that they posted, or commenting on a photo, or something as simple as that. I feel like social media nowadays is a place to find new friends through these tools. So it's also like just nurturing current ones and like staying present in each other's lives.
Yeah. I love that. And then I want you to talk about the
feature?
favorites. Yeah, I had no idea about this.
So this is not a feature that I currently use, but when we started talking about social media as a tool to stay in touch, it popped into my brain as like an amazing function of this. So on Instagram now, you can favorite profiles. So you can literally like choose all your family and friends. You can choose your favorite influencers or content creators, and you can add them to your favorites so that whenever they post content, like for example, Instagram stories, it'll show up on like the beginning of the feed. Same with like if they were to post an actual in-feed post. But there's also a way that you can filter down. There's like a toggle literally on like the homepage of Instagram, and it'll just show you the people that you favorited. So that honestly is a way for you to like prevent yourself from doom scrolling and use it for what social media was intended for.
I love that. And I'm definitely going to be taking away that tip.
Right? So fun. One thing that makes it easy for me to continue to come back for more when I see people I haven't seen in a while is when they're not salty about not having seen each other in a while.
Yeah.
So like, unfortunately, I have some people in my life for when I see them for the first time, they're like, oh my God, it's been like so long. Like not in like a, oh my God, I'm so happy to be here. It's like
you never make time for me anymore.
I haven't heard from you in forever. Like salty about it. It's like, can't we just be grateful that we're finally here now? And like, let's pick up where we left off. So friendships, those are pretty much all the friendships I have in my life. People who don't get salty about me not being the best communicator every single day of the year, like all year round. Whereas people that we could just pick up where we left off, even if it's been 6 months, if it's been 2 weeks, it's the same thing. Like nothing has ever changed.
And I think those are kind of the best friends in a way, personally, at least for us, because it's just, I don't know, I can feel super guilty about that. And then it's like, oh, every time I see you, like I just feel guilty. So therefore, I'm not excited to see you. Totally. That's what it could turn into, because it's kind of like a habit forming. So that's just something to keep in mind, no matter how much you miss. And I fall victim to it sometimes too, when I like really see somebody that I miss so much, and I'm like, oh, I wish we did this more. And like, I think there's a really good way to say, like, I wish I heard from you more. Like, I'd love to see you more.
Yeah.
But it's just the approach that you take.
Totally.
So that's just something to consider.
Totally.
So kind of the same thing. Focusing on the now, like being really present. I think sometimes when you catch up with old friends, it's really easy to reminisce on the past and like harp on that and be like, oh, remember. But then all of a sudden, again, you're kind of forming those habits of, oh, every time I see you, we're just talking about like our past relationship, all the memories that like we used to make. And sometimes it's nostalgic and fun, and it's so fun to reminisce. But at the same time, to progress a friendship, I think it's really important to talk about how you've changed. What are you doing now? What are your goals for the future? And see what you guys align on.
Yeah.
So finding the balance between the two.
Totally. And piggybacking off of that, like getting deeper than surface level conversations. Because when you haven't seen anyone or someone in a very long time and you finally get together, it's like that catch-up period where it's like, oh my God, what has happened since we last spoke? And it's very easy to do like quick level, high level overview because it's been a decent period of time.
Yeah.
So it's like, all right, this is what's happening in work. This is what's happening in my dating life. My family's good. And yeah, just like a couple like high level of within different parts of your life. But to develop a friendship, like you said, and to really progress is to get deeper and align on different things that are more value and like moral driven, I feel.
Yeah.
And then in kind of being vulnerable and sharing that with someone else, it invites them to be vulnerable with you. And then you can keep each other accountable with maybe dreams that you may have or things that you're working on. And it's just more topics and areas to relate on and to communicate about more often than when you just see each other every few months.
Yes. 100%. I love that. That's something I need to work on. Sometimes I'm just a surface level girl and I like to just chat about those things, but it's vulnerable and it's, I don't know, it's hard to get deep sometimes.
Yeah. And I think it's also awkward. Like I think back to like dating back when I was like single. It was so much easier to connect with some people on a deeper level than it was for others. Mm-hmm. And I feel like the card game We're Not Really Strangers is something that kind of normalized deep conversations and getting to know someone past what's your favorite color?
Yeah.
Like where did you grow up? Like things like that. And it was almost like taboo for a while because like, how do you get there? Mm-hmm. So I literally used to be like, okay, want to play like We're Not Really Strangers or like the question game to like you always need something to provoke conversation like that because you're not just going to like unleash trauma or like, you know, like deep stuff off the bat with someone.
And I think to have those deep conversations, you have to be vulnerable yourself.
Exactly.
Because when someone else shows you like a deeper side to themselves, you're more likely to do that and vice versa.
Totally.
So I love that. And then our last one for nurturing relationships is being yourself. So this could kind of backfire in a way where it's like, okay, if I'm being my most authentic self and maybe that's changed, you may no longer align with that.
Yeah.
So in a way, you may be like splitting up a friendship
and turning people off.
It's important because you are nurturing your true friendships and you're filtering out like who's going to stay in my life, who's adding value, who aligns with who I am right now, how am I aligning with them? And I just think it's so important to be yourself. I can sometimes fall into habits of when I'm catching up with old friends or whoever it may be, like I might fall back into how I used to be when we were super close. So I think it's important to remind yourself, stand your ground. Don't let, I don't know, your progress, all the progress and growth that you've made, like be proud of it.
Totally.
Be proud of how you've changed.
I feel like it's so easy to become a chameleon in that sense, especially if you're like an extroverted or charismatic person. Mm-hmm. Like when you're around certain people, you can adapt to the energy in the room and that may not be your truest self. So I could not agree with that more. I feel like I find myself, especially because like my work life kind of transcends into like friendship sometimes. Like I need to be on. I need to kind of like put on a show and like be professional or relate on certain things, and it's just like interpersonal relationships, regardless of work or personal, like they can transcend into other areas of your life. Like I remember it was my dad's 60th birthday and a couple months ago, and I was seeing people I haven't seen in a really long time. And my natural like conversations, people are like, how are you? What's going on? My immediate thing is to like go to work and to like talk about blah, 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 and whatever. And a family friend of mine was like, are you still having fun? And I'm like, oh my God, because I was like turned on in a sense the way that I would when I'm like being asked that question normally, which is in more of like a professional setting. So that's something that I feel like takes work to even be aware of. Like, who do you want to be and how do you want to put yourself out there? Because at the end of the day, that's what's going to be reciprocated back to you, and that's how you're going to filter out your friends.
Yes. And I also think, though, that whole chameleon. Yeah. So I think that is a beautiful skill to have.
It is.
And you need to know when to turn that on and when to turn it off. But I think the biggest differentiator there is like when you're working on growing intimate, like best friend relationships, that's when you should be your most authentic self. I just want to make myself clear. I'm not saying it's bad to, this is the Gemini in me. Like I know how to talk to different sorts of people.
Of course.
And I'm never going to stop doing that. I think it's important. You love that about myself.
Biatch.
Yes. I can just pull different parts of myself. And that's, I think, why I have friends from everywhere. And I love that about me. And I love that about them. But it's like, at the end of the day, I want to be able to show my most authentic self to the people who are going to be closest to me.
Yeah.
Period. And our last section is tips on how to make new friends.
SOS.
We are working on this, so we are not the experts, but here are kind of the ways that we're navigating it.
Yeah.
And, you know, it'll change.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll work, maybe they won't work. But here's what we're thinking.
Yeah, and if you have any tips, let us know.
Send it over.
Please. So first is keep the group chat going.
Yes. So the first thing that comes to mind is you guys have heard this story when Courtney last minute invited me up to like this New York getaway weekend. I only knew Courtney and Camila was there. I think, is that it?
And Louisa, and that's it.
And Louisa, yeah. Like I knew 3 of the 15 plus people that were there. This group chat is still going to this day. Yeah. And I think it was a bunch of people that were meeting each other too.
Yeah.
Right?
Like so many people had not met each other for the first time. And it's not a every single day. It's not like an annoying group chat, but it's like, oh, I'm going to be in New York. Is anyone around and wants to hang out? Like,
so cool.
It's like, wait, what?
It keeps it open and inviting and not intimidating.
And that's not the only group chat I have that's like that, from one-off, like renting Airbnbs and staying in a house with someone for a weekend.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
I think that's a really nice way to keep potential new friends.
Yeah.
And just to show that you're open.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, hey, I'm still open to hanging out with you guys. I had a good time.
Yeah. It's low lift too, because it's not like you're doing something every single day. It's like when you think of something that related to that experience you shared with someone, just send it in.
Exactly. Okay, next one's probably obvious, but new hobbies.
Mm-hmm.
I think, so when we're all trying to grow, right? Let's say you want to be more of a wellness, healthy fitness person. That's a goal for your year. That's who you see your like higher self being. You need to envision who that person hangs out with. What does that person do? What are this person's hobbies? Oh, I want to be super wellness focused. Maybe I should hang around people, like maybe I should take a cooking class.
Yeah.
Maybe I should join a fitness group where there's classes, and maybe I make an effort to get there 10 minutes early and maybe chit chat with the person on the mat next to me.
Yeah.
And so putting yourself in an environment, kind of like what we talked about earlier, you're friends with people who are in the same environment as you.
Yeah.
So if you want these type of people, and because you want to become this type of person, like maybe pick up a new hobby that aligns with that.
Yeah. My 2 friends that live in New York City, Jess and Louisa, they just started a 12-week pottery class.
I saw that. I'm so jealous.
It's like every Thursday, or it might not be 12 weeks. It might be like 6 weeks or something. But it's like one day a week. And they're learning a new skill. They're doing it together, but you don't have to do it with someone. You can also do it by yourself.
Yeah.
Because I feel like if you do something by yourself too, of course it takes like courage and it might be a little awkward at first, but like you're not going to be reliant on the person that you're doing something with.
Totally.
Or you go into it with someone and you're like, our goal is to meet other people within the class so that you don't cling to what you know.
Mm-hmm. I love that.
So cool. I love that. And next, we already talked about this, but social media. If you're seeing someone that's doing something that's of interest to you, or you're seeing someone like live an authentic life and putting it on social, or maybe they started a beauty account or a fitness account or something that is similar in interest to you, vocalize it.
Yes.
Become friends with people who are putting things out into the world of social media and let them know that you're also interested. I feel like I have a lot of random social friends and we just like support one another. And I talk to these people like daily because it's so easy to just, like I said before, throw a heart on a story. It's so easy to swipe up and react to something. Once again, low lift. I don't really see these people ever in person, but it's like, I know if I have a question about beauty, I can text Anitza or reach out to her on social media. Or if I want a new recipe, I have a friend who posts recipes all the time, Munchin with Maddie, and I can comment or reach out, DM her. And it's just like more so like emotional and like not emotional, but supporters of you and you're supporters of them, that it's like a special kind of bond.
Yeah, and I think like the main thing is don't be afraid to reach out to somebody on social media that you haven't talked to before. Like take the leap.
Yeah.
Take the leap. Be vulnerable. Like put yourself in new situations. That's the only way you're going to meet new people.
Yeah. I've also experienced people being like, oh my goodness, I see that you've traveled to this place and you're doing this professionally, and I literally do similar things in my life, like would love to connect. Like it's as simple as that. It's like either you see a common interest or you just see synergies in other people's lives. And it's like, based on what I'm seeing, it looks like we could be great friends. So like you said, just putting yourself out there and making the outreach.
Yeah. Okay, we have two more. The first one is pretty quick. Like, just say yes to random invites. If you get invited somewhere and your goal is to make new friends and meet new people, just say yes. Put yourself out there. You don't have to stay for the full time. If you hate it, you never have to do it again. But just say yes if you're trying to make new friends.
Yeah. And then final one, meshing friend groups is a great way to meet new people. My roommates specifically are making a conscious effort to do this. We actually had a brunch yesterday, but essentially the concept is every month they invite people, or we collectively invite people over for brunch. There's a theme. We specifically invite people that we think would mesh well together because we're three roommates with like individual lives and different friends from different areas. So it's like one of us will invite our best friend from work and the other person will invite our best friend from childhood, whatever it is. And we just create this safe environment where it's like you're here because you're friends with someone. So there's an automatic connection there. And it's just so fun to meet new people that way.
I literally had the best time of my life yesterday. Like, it was so fun and so wholesome. And it's a beautiful way to romanticize just friendship in general.
Yeah.
And it makes you want to meet new people, want to spend quality time with them. Like, to the point where everybody was sitting down and, like, it was so focused on getting to know new people that every 20 minutes, 15 minutes to say, all right, everyone, stand up, rotate 2 seats down. So then you're sitting across from somebody
different
else.
Yeah.
Like, it was so fun and very intentional. And I literally had the best day yesterday.
Yeah.
So I would so highly recommend, if you have roommates, like, just propose it. It doesn't have to be a big thing.
Yeah.
You can each invite one new person and nobody knows each other, and like, just do it. It's so worth it.
Yeah. A dinner party, a brunch, a cocktail competition, like anything works. And it's also fun because you're in someone's home. So it's like a safe space. It's not like you're screaming to talk to someone over a bar and get to know someone that way. It's super organic, despite the fact that we had a structured, all right, everyone rotate two seats down.
But it was like so fun.
Yeah, we had like question cards underneath plates to like spark conversation at tables. And just why not? it's also a perfect winter activity for people who live in the Northeast, because you're not really, I mean, you're going to someone's home, but it's not like, it's an indoor activity, you know?
Yeah, totally. All right. Well, I think that's all. I think like our main message is making new friends is hard.
Yeah.
Friendships in general, hard to maintain, difficult when you outgrow them, but like we're all living it. It's normal. It's part of life.
Yeah.
So.
And the beauty of it is like you're in the driver's seat. So you can control the amount of friends you have, like when you want to be kind of more introverted versus extroverted, who you want in your life versus who you don't. Like that's all up to you. And that's kind of like a scary thing, but like you can make of it what you want to make of it. So that's that.
I love it. That felt really therapeutic.
If anyone wants to be friends with us, let us know. We're in the market.
Literally. Well, thanks for tuning in. We hope that you guys enjoyed this episode, and we'll talk to you next week.
See ya.
Bye.
Haley.